Season's greetings, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of Festive Flicks from Wade Watches. I am Wade, and today we're going to be kicking things off with one of two films that I've said this on Instagram, that just kind of, help bridge that gap between Halloween and the holiday season, because I know it's November the 13th at the time of being recording this, so we're not too far off from Thanksgiving. But I don't know, I just still, for me personally, for some reason this year, and I've never really struggled with this, the previous last years. Once Halloween is over, it's over for me. But for some reason, this particular year, 2024, I just needed help with bridging that gap. So we're starting off with the first of two films that I suspect can help me with that. One of which I haven't seen in a while, and that's the one we're going to be talking about today. Gremlins from 1984, directed by Joe Dante and starring Zach Galligan, Phoebe Cates, Corey Feldman, Dick Miller, Hoyt Axton, and Key Luke. Hope I'm saying that last one right. It's spelled Keye, so I hope it's pronounced Key. If it's not, I do apologize, sir. So yes, as I've said, it's been a hot minute since I've seen this one, and I barely remember anything about it. Last time I watched Gremlins was easily, I want to say I was exactly in the fifth grade. So safe to say, haven't seen this one in a hot minute. And frankly, I believe that when I did watch it for the first time, I didn't even like finish the film. So here we are. And the first thing to say is that it's obvious that this is a homage, Joe Dante's homage to those 50s B movies, small town monster invasion movies, where a monsters plural, aliens or some evil entity takes over a small white suburban town. This is easily his homage to that. And it's fine. It's good. I might be breaking some hearts out there. I know a lot of people are very fond of this film. I know it's steadily growing a following for one of those rewatchable holiday classics that people put on every year. Myself personally, I don't hear a lot about this one around this time of year. Excuse me, but I know two popular YouTubers. Nostalgia Critic, he says he likes watching this around this time of year, and Black Nerd, Andre, I believe he said that not only does he watch this around this time of year, but it's one of his like all-time favorite films. But outside of that, I don't really hear a lot about people putting this one on around this time of year. But also, I want to say that it is kind of growing that small cult following, but it hasn't like reached Home Alone status or Christmas Carol class status or It's a Wonderful Life status, where it's like a big time holiday classic, which is a similarity with the other film I'll be talking about to again bridge that Halloween and holiday gap. But anyway, yeah. That being said, I know this is still a very iconic film. It's a very classic film, and though I don't hear a lot about it being viewed this time of year, not too much at least, more on the, again, kind of like the underrated side of holiday films. I'm still very much aware of the fact that this has a huge following. There's a sequel. There was an animated cartoon. They're rebooting it from what I hear. So yeah, Gremlins is very popular. But I just found it, just to be that good classic homage to 1950s movies. I did enjoy, kind of picking up on that metaphor and foreshadowing of, kind of comparing the Gremlins to, kind of like that fear, that white small town 1950s white suburban fear of the other, foreigners, foreign products. And before I don't think I have enough subscribers to warrant the whole common outrage. How dare you say that? It's just a movie. You're another woke critic. But I can say that because, again, this is obviously a homage to those 50s monster films where a monster invades a small town. That's there's definitely, again, the writers and directors of those films and this film are never going to come out and say like, yeah, it's about foreigners. The Gremlins are a metaphor for foreigners and outsiders invading white suburbia and how white people feel about that. They're never going to come out and say it, but it's there. If you read between the lines like you could do with any film, it's definitely there. There's a whole character who's definitely, old timey patriotic, who goes on a rant at the beginning of the movie about how foreign products never work for you, doesn't like anything foreign. And he does even say at one point, oh, this is foreign TV. So, and he kind of foreshadows the movie because he also talks about, the main source of inspiration for this film, the urban legend of the Gremlins, evil little creatures, mischievous creatures who, supposedly got in the World War II airplanes of British World War II fighter pilots and messed things up. And that's, definitely the main source of inspiration for the movie. That's where it takes its title, for the creatures, all that good stuff. So it's definitely there. And all of that was interesting, actually. Like, I actually liked that setup. I liked him foreshadowing that, like, these foreign products that you get elsewhere never work for you. They always malfunction. And then, of course, this all starts when the father of our protagonist, who's an inventor who goes to all sorts of different conventions and is just trying to, get someone to buy his gadgets, buys one of these Mogwai in Chinatown. I believe it's New York City he said he was in. And, he's given the rules of the Mogwai by a kid who actually sneaks it out to him to take it home with him, because the owner of the shop didn't even want to sell it to him in the first place. But the kid was like, we need the money, here you go, and gives him the rules. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the rules. Don't get water on him. He hates sunlight, and whatever you do, never feed the Mogwai after midnight. We all know him, we all love him, because even I know that, and I haven't seen this movie in years. And of course, each and every last one of those rules, whether accidentally or intentionally, mostly accidentally, are broken, and we have our movies with these little creatures running amok. And like I said, I like the setup. I like that build up. It creates a sense of dread because you're just waiting for it all to go wrong. But the problem for me is that when it eventually all does go wrong and the Mogwai start multiplying, and not only that, some of them, say for the Mogwai Prime, cute little Gizmo, who's the pet of our main young hero Zach, all of them turn into their monstrous gremlins forms. That's when it gets too overtly silly for me, because I understand, with the setup, them making it cutesy. Gizmo's, he's a cute little buddy. He sings a little bit. Like, he's just a cute, fuzzy, little cuddly pet. Like, he's something you'd want to take home. And that honestly absolutely makes sense. That's why the father, Mr. Peltzer, even bothered to buy him for his kid Billy, because, it's the perfect pet. It's the ideal pet. Like, who wouldn't want one of these cute little guys? So I understand, it being all cute and wholesome in the first half, but when shit hits the fan, it's still kind of goofy and wacky and silly. Like, the Gremlins kill people, but they also, dress in different costumes. They wreck a bar, they get drunk, they go watch Snow White and sing along to the dwarf mining song. And save for a few sequences that are actually pretty dark and sinister and creepy and disturbing, for the most part, it was just too campy and cheesy for me, all in all. And I also understand that Joe Dante is a huge fan of old timey cartoons, like, Looney Tunes and stuff. So he incorporates that into his live action film. So that's why it definitely does have this cartoonish sensibility. But I was hoping for something a bit more dark, a bit more creepy, a bit more sinister, because when it does get creepy, it's legitimately creepy. Like, there's a sequence where Billy's mom, Mama Peltzer, has to fend off the Gremlins all by herself because Dad's out of town at a convention, and her son is trying to get to her. And that was, like, legitimately intense in the way she firstly she got hands, she can fight, she can handle herself. The way she takes them out is like, damn, wow, holy shit. It was just another reminder that PG in the 80s definitely meant something different than PG now. That's all I'll say about that scene. I don't want to spoil the movie too much or give away too many plot details for those of you who haven't seen it. But that, and also the leader, kind of like Gizmo, because Gizmo's sweet, cute, and innocent and pure. When he starts spotting off the Mogwai, because water gets on him, one of the actual leader turns out to be this one that they nicknamed Stripe, who's pretty much Gizmo's opposite, mischievous, aggressive, just downright evil, like the evil clone, because he looks like him, save for that stripe. And when Stripe like becomes like the actual Gremlins of the title of the movie, like one of the monsters, he isn't fucking around. He holds guns to people, uses chainsaws on people. He sounds creepy when he talks, like he ain't playing, man. And I wish we just had more of that as opposed to the camp and the cheese and, kind of like the perfect little way that it wraps up where again, I don't spoil films, even films that came out decades ago, so I'll just say like it kind of wraps up and like it wraps up in a way where it's like, hey, remember, this all takes place during Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I'm just like, wow, after all that happened, that's the ending we get. So, yeah, this is just one I can't get behind the majority of people with. And sometimes it rolls that way. We're all individuals. We're all going to have different varying opinions on all sorts of different films, including the ones that have been dubbed classics. This is just my personal opinion on this movie. For the rest of you who love the crap out of this movie and do fondly watch it around this time of year, more power to you. I can totally see the appeal, but for me, I kind of wanted it to be a bit more creepy, because when it gets creepy, like even the soundtrack they play at some points with this kind of like animalistic like moaning incorporated into the soundtrack when during certain scenes when the gremlins are attacking, was actually pretty disturbing and haunting. Like I wouldn't want to hear that played like at midnight. See what I did there? So yeah, I just could use more of that. But as it stands, I'm gonna wrapping it up. I'm going to go ahead and give this comedic comedy horror homage to 1950s B monster movies where the monster invades a small town. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. It's perfectly watchable. It's fine, but it was just a bit too cheesy, laid on the cheese a bit too thickly for my taste, and I was really expecting Gremlins to be a little bit darker than it actually was. So 7 out of 10 for Gremlins. This has been the first Festive Flicks edition of Wade Watches, and I'll see you all more later on down the road with more holiday goodness. Peace.